Hello and welcome back to 10 Minutes of Astrology. My name is Shay. If you are wondering what we're doing here, we are predicting the future. And if you would like to follow along to see how I predict the future, just continue watching. Check my housekeeping in the comments for more information. Today we are going to be talking about Mars in Cancer in 2036. So I have an astrology predictions playlist. If you check the housekeeping for the next 20 years, if you want to go look at that, I've put it in kind of as best order as I could. I also book readings. It's $30 for approximately 45 minutes. I do astrology, birth chart readings, compatibility readings, dream interpretation, stichomancy, graphology. I do a lot of different things. You'll have to reach out directly. I can give you my email, spiritualexperience101@gmail.com. And you can also reach out via Facebook and Instagram. Right now, what I'm doing is looking for the first alignment that I wish to discuss with Mars in Cancer. I don't usually speak about the Sun, Moon, Mercury, or Venus in these videos, simply because I haven't made videos on them yet. You will notice here that Jupiter has entered Gemini during the beginning of this transit. I do have a Jupiter in Gemini video if you're interested in learning more about what's going to happen with that planet in particular during this time period. So it is taking me a moment to find this first alignment, and there are other alignments that come up. Again, I do talk about those in different videos. There are some alignments I haven't gotten to talk about yet because I haven't made videos on it. Anywho, the first alignment that we see is a semi-sextile to Chiron in Gemini. Now, Mars is going to be teaching Chiron something here. Now, I'm going to explain what Mars is, going to explain what Cancer is. I'll explain the next planet, the sign that it's in, how all of this relates, and then I'll move on. Mars is the planet of action, war, determination, motivation. It's the things that you're doing. In Cancer, Cancer represents the mother figures, motherland, homeland. It is a very patriotic sign. I would argue the most patriotic sign because it's got a love for country. And with the mother bit, Cancer in the zodiac is basically the mother of the zodiac, similar to Saturn in the zodiac, which represents the father, i.e. Capricorn. Now, the semi-sextile to Chiron. Chiron is the wounded healer of the zodiac. They try to help heal in others that which you struggle to heal within yourself. Gemini is a sign of duality and mental. It is an air sign. Air represents how you think. Gemini is the ruler of Mercury, which is about smaller group communication. With all of that said, I keep all of my, as you guys know who have been following me for a long time, I keep everything, all of my terminology really basic and really simple for a reason, so it's easy to follow along. Mars in Cancer is going to be acting for the mother, acting for your family, acting for your country, and this is teaching Chiron and Gemini, which is struggling to help heal things in others because there's so many perspective ways to heal. And you are also struggling to heal these multiple perspectives within yourself, that this is teaching. Wipe that slate real quick. Just fresh slate that, okay? We got to be thinking about our family because one of the next alignments coming up is going to be a conjunction to Uranus in Cancer. So Uranus is a planet of chaos, electricity, lightning, and this is like international electronics. This is everybody having a phone, everybody having their TV, everybody having access to like technology. Now, and again, in Cancer, This is mother related. This is nurturing. So when we have Uranus in Cancer, this could be random heart attacks. This could be random ailments with your mother or your grandmother, your maternal figures. Now, with Mars teaching Chiron, you may not be able to help heal them. And so your action now is just to be there with your family, to be in the environment and in the chaos, whether you want to or not, hate it for you, sorry, and deal with the electric phenomenon of whatever is happening with these maternal figures, because they are more important at this time than you trying to mentally heal and help other people mentally heal. And of course, you want to give them good vibes because you get what you give. So you want to give out, hey, it's going to be fine. We're all going to be positive. And, but the reality is you may not be able to help them. Your action at this time should just simply be being there for them, should just simply be, I am in the room with you, and I may not be able to handle all of this chaos, and I may not be mentally or emotionally really present. There's a potential, especially for Cancers, that they are over emotionally present, meaning that they are having emotional outbursts and they're spiraling and spinning. So Cancers, please just check your emotional gauge and say, okay, I may not be able to do much of anything in this situation, but me spiraling, because Cancer is a spiral sign, is not going to help this situation that's already electric, that's already getting out of hand, that's already going sideways. Because Cancer moves, they're the sign of the crab. Crabs move sideways. They don't go forward and backwards. They go side to side. So when things are moving sideways, now I'm a Capricorn. I have a sun in Capricorn. I have a small stellium in Capricorn between 18 and 19 degrees. So I'm like, stable is stable. Whatever is happening, I can keep myself together. Cancer is the complete opposite of that. So me trying to tell a Cancer to be emotionally stable is me beating my head up against a wall. So I'm going to move on, but that's essentially what Chiron needs to be learning here is, instead of trying to help people keep their minds right and keep themselves in this positive mindset of, you have to think about your healing to get better, just being present and not emotionally spiraling is going to be better for this situation than the alternative. And again, I've already spoken a little bit about this conjunction between Uranus and Mars. So Mars is activating, because it's action, this Uranus, which is electric, in the sign of the mother, grandmother, maternal figures, the breast, the heart. This could be, we suddenly get breast cancer. So, just be there for them in that moment. And that's around the middle of May 2036. We're going to see what this next alignment is, which I believe is going to be a semi-sextile to Saturn in Leo. So because we have these semi-sextiles between Chiron, Uranus, and now we have Saturn in the mix, all of these will play in together around the same time. So this is a lot of learning in the moment. And now Saturn is teaching Mars and, quite frankly, Uranus. And about the same time, it is sextile. It's definitely sextile. This Venus retrograde in Gemini. I don't typically talk about Venus until I get to Venus videos, though. So just hang tight for when I do get around to that. The more funding that I have, the more time and energy and effort I will be able to put into these if you would like to book a reading. So there's a lot happening here. Saturn represents the father. It's in the sign of Leo, which is beating your chest. Leo is either going to be the happy little kitty licking itself and taking a cat nap, or the lion's roar, and they are the fighter. They are the king of the jungle. And I say king of the jungle because Saturn here is king, Saturn is very serious, and Leo is definitely more lighthearted. It is ruled by the sun. So you have this lighthearted seriousness, which, if you're a jokester or somebody that likes to make, I'm not going to say trickster, but if you enjoy making things lighthearted, this is a great time to kind of put in during all of this seriousness, especially Saturn is very serious. A little more lighthearted humor here is definitely going to ease some tensions. But Saturn being so serious in this fighter power sign like Leo is teaching Mars in Cancer, again, you need to have that strength to overcome this spiral that you wish to act on. And that's very difficult for Mars in Cancer to learn, because Mars in Cancer has learned I'm going to act with my emotions. But here, that's not the case. Here, you need to take this seriously. You need to take charge. You need to be the one that people can lean on and come to for that stability, because you can turn it around and be lighthearted about it. And now, my Leos here, I'm going to say, don't make it about you now, because Leos have a way of turning it around and becoming the center of attention in all of this. So this isn't a time to turn it around and make it about you. This is a time to shed your wisdom and the fact that this time is important. Saturn also rules time. So this time is important to enjoy. Leo loves to have fun. So it's time to let loose and have fun regardless of the situation. You can still turn it around and make it a positive thing. And that's what it's teaching Mars is, I know you want to spiral. I know your action is wanting to spiral and move things sideways and get emotionally out of control. You don't have time for that. Now, Saturn sextile Venus, even though Venus is retrograde in Gemini, all of these things I can't say that I like about Venus at all. But this here is, if Venus will have its heart on the fence with Gemini, and retrograde, your heart is kind of moving backwards. So, if you're not there for your family during this time, if you couldn't emotionally handle it, if you had to take a step back, if you had to be the bad guy, kind of whatever is happening there. I'm going to move on and talk about the sextile real quick to Chiron. Saturn sextile Chiron is nice because that is a form of healing, especially with your, I'm not going to say your desire for power, but this kind of inner power and inner strength. You feel like you don't really have it because Chiron is in Gemini and it's getting mixed messages, but Saturn here is really a good anchoring place. So because this video is about Mars, I am going to go ahead and move on to see what the next alignment is for Mars, which I do believe is going to take me a minute. And again, I don't typically talk about the nodes. I also don't talk about Lilith a whole lot. So, again, if you want me to make videos on those, please type them in the comments. I'll see what kind of time I have to get around to that. It looks like the next alignment is probably going to be to Pluto, which is retrograde in Aquarius. Now, Pluto does go retrograde for approximately half of the year every year, so that's not that big of a deal because that's more or less normal. So Mars is going to be in conjunct Pluto. And an inconjunct is basically an irritant. It's saying, hey, this is not convenient, this is uncomfortable, but it's usually a short-lived thing of discomfort. Now, I will say if you have anything at 21 degrees of Sagittarius, you are going to be experiencing a yod. The finger of God would be pointing at Mars during this time, which is your actions. So Sagittarius, I always tell Sagittarius, shut your fucking mouth, okay? We love you. We know that you have a lot to say. We know you have arrows of truth. Now is not the time to speak your mind. Please have some empathy. But again, in conjunct to Pluto and Aquarius, which is basically your friend groups and the bigger society at large, which is doing a lot of transformation in this deep darkness, in conjunct Mars in Cancer. Now, neither of these alignments, Mars is not home in Cancer, Pluto is not home in Aquarius. Both of these are square their original home placements. So this is adding insult to injury and making it another layer of difficulty. And again, inconjunct should be more or less short-lived. So this is like a span of 2 or 3 days of this one problem that's like a bigger problem because Aquarius, and it's going to be a weird problem because you have Aquarius in here. And of course, Mars in Cancer, their action is to desire to emotionally spiral in some form. And that irritates Pluto, which is trying to randomly transform things because Aquarius is like, change some stuff, it doesn't work. So you change some stuff and it doesn't work. So you change it. And they constantly seek change to make things better, even though they could be making it worse. And then you can't fix the thing that you change, especially Pluto. It's transformation. Aquarius loves all the changes, and they like stirring things up to see what'll be better, to see if this will make things work any better. And usually, because Capricorn comes before, so usually Capricorn has set it up and made it right and done all like the technical things. And then by the time it gets to Aquarius, they're like, well, we're just going to shake the bag and see what comes out. And it's like, you don't have to do that, Aquarius. You can leave it be. It's okay if you leave it be. And they're like, no, it's not, because what if it could be better? And so this is irritating because you actively wanting to spiral and be emotional is not jiving with Aquarius that's trying to make things better for everybody. But if you don't want to make it better for everybody, they'll just dip because they're cold at the end of the day. They're a very cold, and I'm not going to say that they don't have heart. Their heart is in a different place from all of us, and we don't understand where it is because they're Aquarius. They didn't tell anybody, and then they forgot where they left it. So it irritates Aquarius that you want to get emotional about this when Aquarius is actually an air sign. So they're supposed to think more logically. And in their mind, logic is their own form of logic, sure. But it irritates them because why are you getting emotional about this? This is not the time. And then Mars in Cancer is irritated by Pluto and Aquarius because you keep wanting to change stuff. It was just working. Everything was just working fine. You want to change everything and then leave. So I get the irritation here, but it shouldn't last terribly long. But it is going to be like another monkey wrench that is just tossed to you. And sure, okay, fine. The next alignment I believe we're going to see is a square to Neptune in Aries. So this is God coming back around because Neptune is the essence, the presence of that greater higher power. And in Aries, that greater higher power is dominant, it's aggressive, it's, I've been telling y'all for a long time, karma is coming quick this season, especially Aries is a very forward movement, fast sign, and they're aggressive, and they're essentially the infant of the zodiac, so it's now, me, and so that's God basically squaring off with its home planet of Mars, which is an emotional sign of Cancer. So this is God coming around and going, no, you're not doing this right. Get it together. You do not have the spiritual capacity to be melting down. Neptune is saying, I am your God. Get it together. You have the strength. You have the capacity. Why are you not getting, this is your check, okay? You made your bed. Now you're going to sleep in it. Wake up and make your bed again. We have to keep moving. You don't have a choice. Do you trust me? And Mars in Cancer is emotionally flailing. And they think that God essentially has left them, has abandoned them, is being mean to them, is trying to make an example out of them, and they're emotionally exhausted and overwhelmed. And it's like it feels like everything is against you and falling down. Now, with all of that said, I do want to bring in the interpretation that I do believe we are going to have mother, grandmother, maternal figures pass during this time, because that's unfortunately what I'm seeing is those, and it could be that your mother country, your motherland has failed or has collapsed, or something has happened that has been a tragedy for your motherland or for your homeland that will make people emotionally spiral, feel loss, feel grief here. So it is a bit difficult. Now, this has been double of 10 minutes of astrology, so I am going to quickly continue to see when Mars leaves and goes into Leo. And then I'm going to wrap it up by saying peace out, fam, and much love. So Mars goes into Leo approximately June 19th, 2036. I have got to go. Peace out, fam, much love.